This is the Samsung S25 Ultra, and it by all measures is a pretty basic, rather blah update, because you only had one really big addition, and that was the inclusion of a 50 megapixel ultra wide and then a more boxy off design. But it did offer an incredible UI experience through One UI 8 and now 8.5, and you had a ton of incredible AI features to boot as well. So it offered a lot for bang for buck. And those AI features included the great magic eraser. Then that display, it's a monster 6.9-inch anti-reflective OLED with 2600 nits of peak brightness. So when you're watching back content on the display, you got stunning contrast and colors, and it was perfect for anything from browsing the web, watching content, browsing articles, etc. All of that ran really well. However, there were some downsides to this S25 Ultra. The design profile effectively was quite a bit boring, and it lacked some of the key specs that you wanted from a flagship phone in 2025. Things like a silicon carbon battery and anything really that drew it further away, things like peak brightness being above 2600 nits versus competitors, but it didn't offer any of that. So what will the updated S26 Ultra bring? Will it bring it up to date to the 2026 flagships, and to an extent even catch up to the 2025 flagships, especially things around its cameras, where it ranked pretty low on DxOMark's ranking? Well, based on this design profile, which is a dummy of the S26 Ultra, the changes are at best subtle. And to be honest, if you look under the hood and in general, there is not a dramatic shift here. So one of the main changes you will see on the S26 Ultra is the inclusion of this sort of island-like design on the back, which was found on the Fold 7, makes its way here to the S26 Ultra. And in terms of the camera specs itself, the S25 Ultra got a 200 megapixel wide, 10 megapixel 3x telephoto, 50 megapixel periscope telephoto, and 50 megapixel ultra wide. Now the S26 Ultra will allegedly get the exact same setup, except for one key thing. That 10 megapixel 3x telephoto will actually be downgraded in terms of its image pixel size, or its microns, from 1.12 on the S25 Ultra to 1.0 on the S26 Ultra. So that means that this S26 Ultra will actually sit behind flagships like the X9 Pro, and way further behind flagships things like the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, which actually is using a new tech called Lofic to produce better HDR brightness, and the S26 Ultra will not have that. And if you're enjoying reviews such as this and videos such as this, then consider subscribing to the channel so we can hit our 50k subs in 2026. Now, this talk of the S26 Ultra, again, one really cool camera upgrade, and that is a coating added to the lenses to reduce glare during the day and night. So nighttime photography then will be solved, so you're not going to get any lens flare or lens glare in overly bright or overly dark areas where you pick up that flare from, say, street lights or a really bright sign. On the display front, there are some changes. You'll still retain that same 6.9-inch OLED display with 2600 nits of peak brightness and that same anti-reflective display. But there is one key change here, and that is the adoption of an M14 OLED, which was found on the iQOO 15, which essentially uses a feature called color filter on encapsulation. Allows the display to be thinner, reduce glare, and improves light transmission as well. In addition to this, the S26 Ultra will also get a feature that will allow it to, say if you're looking at it directly and you've got a privacy screen, you can tilt this and it will actually reduce the visibility to somebody who's looking behind you. Very similar to what you find on those privacy screen protectors. There's actually going to be built into the OS of the S26 Ultra. Now, don't know if that's a display feature or that's an OS feature. If it's an OS feature, that will filter down to every single S-series device for the last few years. In terms of the design profile and dimensions, let's break this down for you. So the S25 Ultra measured in at 8.2 millimeters thin, whilst the S26 Ultra will measure at 7.9 millimeters thin. Actually, when we measured this, it was actually thinner, about 7.3, 7.4 millimeters. So there is a bit of a change in that sense. Overall, though, the S26 Ultra in terms of design profile is not a dramatic change. Across the bottom, you still got your S Pen, your card slot, and your speaker. Along the other side of the frame, there is nothing, and then the other side gets you your power button, volume up and volume down key. Now, there is no real big change in the design profile, and again, it terms of its curvature, looks almost exactly the same as the S25 Ultra as well. On the performance front, you're going to get a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy, so some mild tuning here, but things like gaming performance will be top tier, top notch. So you get stunning frame rates, really balanced graphics, and you're not going to get any crashes or issues. You may encounter some thermal issues depending on the vapor chamber that comes in to the S26 Ultra, but overall the experience will be pretty good. One thing we did want to mention on the performance front though, it links to charging. So there's an upgrade here, which is another significant change to the S26 Ultra. It will move from 45 watts to 60 watts of wired charging, which is a pretty big jump, but still adopts that same 5000 milliamp hour battery, and it's still lithium ion, not silicon carbon, which is a bit of a shame. But there is some rumor, to know to what extent, that there will be an inclusion of magnetic charging, so things like MagSafe connectors you'll be able to use on the back of the S26 Ultra, but again, that's a very dicey rumor at best. All in all, it's business as usual for Samsung. It's again another iterative update. Even things like storage size, if you wanted 16 gigabytes of RAM, you have to adopt the 1 terabyte storage. Price wise is a good news, 1249 here in the UK. That price will remain the same. You're going to get a lot of incentives like trade-ins, free gifts, etc. Will probably drive that down just a little bit. But overall, we're going to reserve our judgment. But we really want to know what your thoughts are on this quick leak look at the Samsung S26 Ultra. If that is the final spec, which we believe for a lot of reasons is the final spec, is there enough for you to upgrade and switch and buy or change to the S26 Ultra? Or are you just going to ignore this and adopt your Vivo or Oppo or Xiaomi or OnePlus phone, which will offer a lot more for sometimes a lot less money? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to like and subscribe, and please support the channel by subscribing, share with your friends and family as well, and we'll keep bringing you more content as time goes on. Until the next one, as always, we out.